Hi, welcome back. So earlier we used sine rule to find the length of a side of a triangle. Now we're going to use sine rule to find unknown angles in non-right angle triangles. Let's look at an example. Here we're given triangle PQR and they want us to find the value of angle R. So our unknown is an angle this time instead of a side. So just as before, when we analyzing the question, we got to look at what we have and ask some questions. So let's begin with our questions. First question, what are we given? Let's look at our diagram again. What are we given? We're given one side, two sides, and we're given an angle. So in this case, we're given two sides and an angle. The next question, what are we finding? What did they ask us to find? They wanted us to find this angle here, angle R. That was the question. They wanted us to find angle R. So we got to find an angle. Do we have, again to use the sine rule, we need to have one pair and one half pair. So let's go look and see if we have a full pair. And our full pair we have is the P's. So we've got angle P and we've got the side across it. So this is our full pair. Okay. And what is the half pair we have? Let's check. Do we have the half pair? We're looking for angle R. Do we have the side across R? Yes, we do. So we've ticked both those boxes. We've got our full pair and we've got our half pair. Next question, which version of the sine rule we're using? Again, what are we finding? We're finding angle R. Because we're finding angle R, we're going to use the version of the sine rule that has the sine R in the numerator because it just makes our calculation easier. So we're going to be using a piece of this version of the sine rule. Okay. So we've got the angles on top because we're looking for an angle and we've got to decide which one we're going to use. So what are we going to use? Because we have the full pair of P, it means that's the full pair we're going to use, and because we're looking for R, we're going to use that half pair. So we're going to use these two pieces of our equation. So this is the version of the sine rule we're going to use. Sine R over R equals to sine P over P. Now, substitute all the relevant values in, substitute 4 for R, and let's substitute angle P 75 and side P 9 units. Rearrange this to make sine R the subject of the formula, multiply throughout by 4, and we end up with this neat fraction, which we will then put into our calculator. Now, we have to remember something. At the moment, we're looking for an angle. And what's different about looking for an angle versus looking for a side? We need to use the second function or the shift key on our calculator. So, because we're finding angle R, we're now going to use the second function sine on our calculator with this fraction in. Let's go to our calculator and see what we have to put in. Okay, so we're going to say shift sine, and in our numerator we've got 4 times sine 75. In the denominator we have a 9. Oh, sorry. Okay, and we have an answer of 25,423, and we've got to round it off to 2 decimals. So we're rounding it off to 25,42 degrees. And that's the value of our R, 25,42 degrees. Okay, so we've now found out how you find an angle using the sine rule. We're now going to solve a triangle. What does it mean to solve a triangle? To solve a triangle means we need to find all the missing lengths and all the missing sides and all the unknown angles. So let's look at an example where we can do that. So here's triangle KLM, and they want us to solve the triangle. They want us to find all the missing angles and sides. So we have to ask our questions again like we did earlier. First question, what are we given? We're given, again, two sides and an angle. Okay. What can be found using the given information? So using the given information, we've got one full pair here, and we have one half pair here. So it means we can use the sine rule. In other words, we can find angle theta or angle M. That's what we can find first. So using the sine rule, that's what we can find first. Right. Which version of the sine rule? Again, because we're finding an angle, we're going to start off with the version of the sine rule that has the angles on top. Because our triangle is KLM, sine K over K, sine L over L, sine M over M. And specifically, again, we're going to be using just the pairs that we have, which we'll do in a second. Okay, once we found theta, what is the next thing we can find? We will solve it slowly, but just to make sure where we're heading. Once we found this angle theta, we'll have two angles in our triangle. So once we have theta, it will be quite easy to find angle K using three angles of a triangle, the sum of angles of a triangle. And finally, the last thing we can solve once we have K, we can find the side across from K. And the side across from K is LM, and that's the last thing we'll do in our solving of this triangle. So let's start at the first step, and the first step we're going to do is find theta. Let's get to a clean slide. Okay, so here's a neater diagram, and we're going to find sine theta over 10, that piece, equal to sine of L, 108, over 20. So there's our equation we set up. Now we've got to just make sine theta the subject of our formula by multiplying throughout by 10. Put that into our calculator like we did earlier. This should be quite simple now. And so we get an answer of theta being shift sine, and we put this into our calculator. And when we put this into our calculator, substitute all of these into our calculator, we'll get an answer of theta equals to 28,39. So this angle is 28,39. Now, we need to find angle K using three angles of a triangle. So we've got 108, we've got 28,39. So K is easy to find now. You just subtract those from 180, and K is now 43,61. So 43,61 degrees. Okay. Here's a neater diagram again with all the information that we found already. We found that M is 28,39. We found K is 43,61. What's left to find is little k. We need to find this piece here. So again, we're going to use that full pair, and we're going to use that half pair to make up our equation, to set up our equation that we can solve. So again, our full pair and our half pair, we're going to start off with what's unknown. Because we want to find k, we're going to say k over sine of 43,61 will equal to this pair here. So it will be 20 over sine of 108, and that's the equation we've set up. We make k the subject of the formula again by multiplying throughout by sine of 43,61. And our calculator will give us the answer, and we round it off to 2 units, to 2 decimal places. So k will equal to 14,5. Okay, so we found out that k was 14,5 units. So again, let's do our quick check to see if our answers make sense in the context of our problem. Our greatest angle is 108 degrees, and the side across it is 20. Okay. The next biggest angle is 43,61, and the side across it is 14,5, so that looks correct. And the third angle and side that we found is 28,39, and the side across it is 10. So we've checked our answers. It looks like the biggest side is across from the largest angle, and the smallest side is across the smallest angle. So our checksum is also complete. Okay, we're going for a short break. We'll be back after this.